All right, what's up, Tow Talk Nation? We're back for episode 2. Woo woo! Man, it's me, Ryan Ward, and the other guy on the screen, Julius Galan. Dude, I enjoy saying your name. Is that weird? Julius Galan. Julius
It
Galan. It's
if you
kind of
ask
cool,
me,
dude.
dude, it's a little awkward to say the least. I mean, I don't know how to
Man.
take that, but I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll definitely take it.
Okay, you'll take it. You'll take it. No, I think it's cool, man. I got a boring name. Ryan Ward, man. That doesn't sound so cool. I don't know. Doesn't sound so cool.
I
How
mean, I think you might think that because you just grew up that way. You grew up with that name, so you're just like, I've been growing up this way the whole time. I think maybe you should try to change it. You could take Galan. I mean, it doesn't. It wouldn't
yeah,
bother me
people
one bit, brother. It
I
wouldn't
think
bother me.
I got to do something crazy in front of people so they remember my name. You got to say it, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that Julius guy," because not everybody has that name, man. It stands out, dude. Okay. So
Dude,
we're on episode 2. Recap from episode 1, which was
Man, it was a lot to say the least. It was a lot. It was a little uncomfortable at one point, but I hope everybody
they're
doesn't
gonna give you a
I
little bit
hope
of shit,
everybody
dude.
doesn't think I was a streetwalker because
Yeah,
I
yeah.
wasn't to clear things up. I was not.
Yeah, I understand. I understand. So, we got a couple things going on right now. Okay, episode 2, we got some guests coming up for the next couple episodes, which is really cool. We got some topics right now. We definitely want to hit on insurance a little bit. We wanted to hit on some rise in fuel prices, some stuff like that. We also have a guest today, which we'll bring on here in a little while. But so, which topic you want to hit first, man?
Well, I would say sales. When it comes to tow trucks, used, new, it's
Yeah, you
fluctuated in a way that
talking about new tow trucks?
new, used, new in particular, there was at that time, there was a time, I should say, that, they were plentiful, then they weren't, and then they are again. But it's definitely a topic that is worth talking about.
I got a couple buddies who, got smaller tow companies and they are running, flatbeds, wreckers. They're running light duty stuff. Obviously, that's typically where everyone starts in the industry. I mean, when I started, I was thinking only about light duty. I was not thinking about grabbing a CDL and trying to tackle semis and stuff like that. Now we get into that later over time, we did, but most people are, light duty trucks and they go out there, they try to grab some insurance, they try to grab, tackle fuel prices and then go out there and figure out how to sell themselves unless they already have a customer they're working with, which happens a lot. Was that for you when you started? Did you have a customer you were working with already? I think you had the mechanic shop, so you were already towing your own stuff, right?
Well, no, we didn't have a mechanic shop at the time. I just worked at night and I did the truck thing in the morning. I towed in the morning, during the day, and on the weekends. At night, I was at work. But the the goal was always to grow. Just couldn't get there. Just for a lot of reasons.
Yeah, hey man, there's there is a lot of reasons. It is not an easy industry, outside of the, working on the roadside and fighting that battle every day and then answering the phones and trying to come up as an owner in the tow business with a 1 or 2 man show. It's not easy. It'll test everything you have. And there's a lot of people that come into the industry and drop right back out for all those same reasons. It's
Yeah.
rough because I mean, look at fuel right now. If you started out right now and prices for all these guys going to do service calls today, they're roughly they're roughly charging the same money that it's been the last 10, 15 years.
Yeah, yeah, and then how are you supposed to recoup that kind of money when it just literally goes right out the exhaust? I mean, it's not something recoupable unless it's billed correctly or you strategically do things to combat it. And that comes with a lot of things that we should touch on a later date. But, to
Yeah.
the whole thing about sales, if you're getting those fuel costs, how are you supposed to buy another truck or replace one that's going down, that it's not worth fixing or it's sitting there, you're waiting to save up for it, because even getting loans anymore is another tough thing. You have to have A1 credit, to get the A1 rates. And the terms and conditions. I mean, some of those terms and conditions are brutal depending on, the contract you sign.
Yeah, man, it's rough, dude. The fuel costs alone in the industry right now, of course, currently right now we've seen fuel prices go skyrocket this year, but not everyone has a way to combat that because I mean, what do? You go out there and start increasing your cash call rate, and so now your cash calls are heading over to cut to your competitor down the street because you just kicked up $10 a call or $5 a call, and now your guy down the street hasn't changed his, and he's landing the work. So you got that to combat a little bit as well, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's one way to do it, but I don't think that's the best way. Yes, you can put your prices up blatantly and, kind of show it when the people call. Prices do change, there's no doubt about it, and you got to
Sure.
adjust, but there's other ways that you can do it on the back end. And that comes with, billing classes, what you could legally charge when it comes to different charges.
But you're talking about like
And
on
that's a
police.
no, not just with police, just like some people put fuel surcharges, but not only that, I mean, I don't wanna touch on that too much, but like I said, with financing, like, say you have a 12% and you got it 3 years ago, let's just say, "Hey, let's revisit this. Let's refinance this truck or let's refinance the fleet." What could we do to make that happen? And don't get comfortable with your bank. You make sure that you reach out to other banks and see what they're offering. Make sure you read the fine print. Balloon payments, end of contract, agreements, those things, it's
Yeah,
something to visit. It's something to look at.
you're talking about financing in general and whatnot. But, for me right now in our companies that we're running right this second, I mean, the drivers, of course, are excited. They're not paying fuel, right? So they see an increase. We're doing, I think, currently right now, $5 increase on cash calls, whether you want to call it a fuel surcharge, which is really what it is. And to change that on law enforcement calls, typically, depending on where you're at in the country, you usually need to submit that with your state, or you have to submit it with the
Right, right,
departments to increase that. So,
right,
usually won't get a
right.
whole lot of kickback on that stuff. It's your cash calls mainly that are going to be the question mark, whether or not you can raise those rates or not. Motor clubs, good luck. Right, motor clubs in this
Yep,
unless the fuel prices stay high for a lot longer, they'll come to the table with some help with fuel costs, but it's usually sadly too late at that point. It's already after you're
mhm,
already hurting, They're like, "We're here to help."
yep.
Where were you a month ago, dude, or 2 months ago, man?
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, yeah.
So,
It definitely yeah, it definitely is it's an uphill battle, and I search for words because I wanna tread lightly because I don't wanna upset anybody in the sense of what they're doing, but everybody has a way, but that way could be a soft or hard landing, and to your customers and to you, as a company, as an operator, as an owner, everywhere in a company that you run, it's definitely it hurts, because when raises come around, things like that, everything to keep the company afloat, depending on how big you are, residuals, what you have going on, it's not an easy thing to manage, but there are things to combat it, and there's definitely a way
no,
to
yeah.
help in all different aspects of the business.
Yeah, I'd like to say something to the operators real quick that do listen to this, the actual guys in the roadway. This is a tough time right now with the fuel prices being up. I was just checking some online stuff with insurance rates in our industry, and since 2000, so 6 years, last 6 years, they've gone up, roughly on an average 40% across the country. This is pretty crazy. So my point is with saying this to the operators is that, if you're driving a tow truck right now, if you're running anything in the tow industry, and you feel like, hey, now's the time to get a raise or whatever, you might just realize that the fuel prices the last 60 days have been out of control. Tow companies are spending tons more on fuel right now. My company alone is up $20,000 a month just in fuel, man. $20,000 a month just in fuel. That money's got to come from somewhere. And it sure as heck not $5 every time we do a cash call. Think about that. What?
Right, right. No,
And then you
yeah,
take
and
you
and
take the
and
insurance increase. Yeah.
yeah, well, insurance. A lot of these subjects, we can break them down and unpack them so
Yeah. Yeah.
much. and spend an hour, but,
We can.
I
We got something a little more important right now, though.
yeah. Well, we
We
got
got a guy. We
something,
got a guy waiting.
we got a guy waiting, but we wanted to touch on it a little bit. We'd love to revisit it, but we would love to have some input from you guys, especially uh, guys, girls, in between the fuel prices and everything else in the industry that's struggling. We'd love to hear from you guys. Always go over to Tow Talk Nation on Facebook, TikTok. We're working on Instagram, but get there, voice your opinions or your facts or whatever the case may be, and we'll definitely see the comments, tag us, make sure that you see, we'll more than likely respond and get some of your questions or even some answers that you guys have, in different counties in the country, because everything's different when it comes to counties, state, all that stuff. And we'd love to talk about it. That's what we're here for. But nonetheless, we have somebody waiting. Is he still in the queue? There he
Yeah, yeah,
is.
he's
There
coming
he
in. He's
is.
coming in. All
There he
right, what's
is.
up, Tim? Tim
Yeah, what's
Smith
going
with the
on,
Tow Trucks
fellas?
app. How you doing, man?
Yeah, what's going on?
Tim, welcome.
Thank you. How are you guys doing this morning?
We just were pretty good, man. Pretty good. We were just talking about increasing fuel pricing over the last 60 days in the tow industry and some insurance stuff we were chatting with. But now we're on you, man. We're on you and what you do with the Tow Trucks app, man. How's that pushing out?
Yeah, no, it's been awesome. Really we launched it probably middle of February. Well, it hit app stores in November, but really started pushing it out in middle of February. Uh, we're already doing over 7,000 users per month that are coming in there and using the app, and so right now it's got more traffic that's towing related traffic than truck paper or any of these other sources that are out there. So it's been fun, and it's so good working for yourself again and kind of getting out there. But yeah, it's as you would expect, it's a lot of work. So, but yeah, I can't wait. It's growing, taking off. Everything's been good. Looking forward to the next couple trade shows and seeing how everything keeps growing.
Hey, that's awesome. Relating to fuel costs here, because I know this about the app. I kind of have an inside track a little bit. Talking about fuel costs for owners and whatnot, there's a place inside the app where they could go to look at fuel cards and whatnot. Look at rates to get that correct.
That's right. Yeah. So inside the industry section that's down there at the bottom. So if you're looking at the app and you open it up at the very bottom, there is a little spot called industry, and inside industry, it's got all your vendors really. So it's got stuff on fuel cards, it's got stuff on cameras and GPS, it's got stuff depending on what you're looking for. Really, all the vendors that are inside towing, and just trying to make it a lot like a Yellow Pages. Julius, if you don't remember, the Yellow Pages used to be a thing that you would go and look and you would try to find companies in
Yeah.
for us
Yeah.
old fogies, right? Now they use it
I,
if you go inside. Your grandma probably uses it to hold the door open. But yeah, it used to be a handy little thing to where you could find everybody you were looking for in one spot.
I think I had one still for a little bit there. Yeah, I don't remember where it's at, but I think I might still have it somewhere. It got smaller and smaller over the years. Dang, that's nostalgic anymore.
Well, it's funny, the benefit of it was, especially back then, is you could just pick it up, and no matter what you were looking for, whether everything from rubber dog shit to rocket fuel, you could find it inside one big thing, right? So everything was right there, and so that's kind of what we're trying to bring to the towing industry. So regardless of whether you're looking for a specific truck dealer's number, or whether you're trying to call somebody that's selling fuel cards to find out what's going to give you the best rate to save money. You should be able to find all that stuff and be able to reach out to them directly through the Tow Trucks app.
So the Tow Trucks app is the yellow pages for the tow truck industry.
Yeah, I think the best way to describe it is it's kind of a digital marketplace for everything related to towing, right? So if you're looking to buy or sell tow trucks, trailers, equipment, or whether you're looking for a specific vendor, we want to make sure that we supply that and give you access to it. So that's what we're trying to do.
I have the app, and I will say it's very it's quick, and it's definitely been upgraded from the time that I had it till now. When you go in there, there's so much going on in the sense of what you could have at the palm of your hands, literally. I mean, you guys have events in there, you guys have vendors in there from all different sections of the industry, and it's very informative in a sense of like you could see what you're going to click on before you even click on it. I mean, everybody's logos are in there. I mean, it's very simple to navigate through too. I mean, it's just I've never had an app like that for the industry, that is that quick and that easy to manage and kind of go through.
Well, what we realized, especially early on, and literally, Ryan, several of the folks that I'd talked to when we were starting this, towers for the most part spend 16 hours a day on their phone. They're rarely sitting in front of their computer, right? They rarely have time to
Hmm.
sit at their desk and read anything or go through anything. So they're always on the fly. Right, they're picking something up. I don't know about you guys, but every tower I've ever met, 2 o'clock in the morning, get a call, got to roll over and get out of bed and go pick something out of the ditch. That's difficult. But sometimes while you're sitting there and you're waiting on somebody to show up, that's the time that you have in order to get something that you need to order and take care of some work that you need to take care of. And so, making sure that it's accessible and usable was very important. And yeah, it's changed a lot since it first came out, and it'll continue to change. It's one of those things when you build it, they say, build it and they will come. Well, you build it, and then you realize the things that you need to fix because, as you're rolling it out, you realize, this could work a little better, and this could work a little better. So,
Well,
you know,
yeah,
I,
yeah.
a year from now, it'll look completely different than it looks now. I mean, we're still learning and growing, but I think getting it out there and ahead of the curve was the most important thing.
Yeah, no. Growth is definitely it's the best thing for anything, really, growth. And I will say, like the things that have changed are positive. It's not like some of the other apps like Facebook or something, like they change, I don't know, they change certain things. Even like, I don't know, Credit Karmas. I hate the new Credit Karma, but they're growing in a way that I don't like, but I guess they think it's better. But I like the way the Tow Trucks app is growing, when it comes to just the app itself and the way it's designed. It's getting that much better all the time.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's been a work in progress, but it's funny. We came out in November officially, really. So really, we hit the Apple Store right in November is what happened. We loaded a whole bunch of people. I think about 800 people, from that show started using the app. And the great part about it was we had 800 people on the app. The bad part was we'd never had anybody really use the app before, right? We'd gone on and tested it, we'd played with it, but nobody had ever really used and the more parts of it that people use, the more things that we realize that, maybe we need an adjustment here, or you got to keep on reeling it down. And so it's going to continue to get better. And, but I appreciate the feedback. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It's a challenge, but we're excited.
Yeah, dude, I like I said, I've never had something like that in my hand so easily to access. It was a hard time when I bought my first truck, even my second one and the third one. I mean, that was a lot of word of mouth actually, before, because I just didn't have an avenue to go to find what I was looking for. It was like, oh, so and so has this, or call this person, or hey, I know it. That's kind of the way it was because nothing against truck paper, but sometimes it got just hard to navigate through all that. Where with the Tow Trucks app, I mean, you have options to filter and stuff. The truck paper does too, but it's just it gets difficult if you guys understand what I'm saying out there. Like when you get on there, not the Tow Trucks app is just it's clean, it's easier, and it just flows. Some of you guys understand that, some of you guys won't. Maybe the guys that don't have the app yet, but if you do get it, you'd understand what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
the
think.
buying or
Go ahead, Ryan. I'm
contacting on
sorry.
some Yeah, yeah. Sorry, buying and contacting on some of those other apps or platforms is difficult. They try to capture the user, so they don't give you a phone number easy to access. They want you to go to. They want you to. I guess maybe get in or call an alternate number to get to their real number, so they can capture the phone call. It's kind of weird.
Hmm.
So when I always was trying to look for a tow truck to purchase or whatever, I stayed away from stuff like that because it was just frustrating. I had to wait for someone to call me back sometimes or whatever, and I was always looking at the picture trying to figure out where it was at so I could just look them up online and call them directly. At least I don't think you have that problem with the Tow Trucks app, correct, Tim?
Yeah, so inside every listing, you can call directly to the dealer, right? So you can just there's a call button,
Yeah,
so you can
yeah.
press call, or if it's an individual, you can call them direct. Now, as the individual, you have the choice not to put your phone number in there. So if you don't want to put your phone number in there for whatever reason, you don't have to. They can just message you directly through the app and message you and talk to you about the vehicle in there as well. Yeah, we've tried to make it to where it's a little bit more user friendly for the person that's trying to buy, which hopefully makes it to where it's not so frustrating. It's a little difficult on the dealer side because then the dealer doesn't know where it came from because that's the same phone number that they have in their print ad or on their billboard or that they're handing out on their business card or on their flyer. So I understand why the truck paper may do something like that, but it doesn't help the buyer be user friendly, right? And so ultimately we're trying to do two things. We're trying to put all the equipment in one place to where if you're a tower, you can go and search. And if you're looking for a white light duty used flatbed because you've got a job that you just picked up and all you need is something quick, you can go in there, search for those. It's going to show you the ones that are closest to you. And you can just go down the line and, hey, call, will you make a deal? Call, will you make a deal? Right?
Yep.
Until you find
Yep.
what you're looking for and get it done. Right. Instead of having to call
Yep.
um, a mountain of dealers trying to find out what you're looking for, or call all your buddies who are your buddies and not really your buddies at the same time, that you're competing with. So trying to find something quick and being able to get to it, is important.
Yeah, yeah, and that Tow Trucks app really does that. It really does exactly what you're saying. It cuts down on time, precious time that you need to run your company, run the calls, do whatever you need to do that is your job in the company. Or even if you're looking one to start your own company, I mean, it makes things so much easier because, like I said, when I was looking for my first truck, it was difficult. It wasn't easy. And to be honest, I got lucky. I had a great experience buying my first truck, and TLC did take care of me. Not to name drop, but they did a good job.
Mike
But
and
a
his
lot of
crew
guys
down
don't
there
get as
are
lucky.
awesome folks.
Yeah, yeah, they really are. But I got lucky. A lot of guys don't. A lot of guys don't get lucky when it comes to getting their first truck. They don't know what they're buying, or they waste a lot of time just running through the industry or these dealerships or whatever because they can't get to the right person. And the tow trucks app just makes it that much easier.
That's right.
It gives
No,
a
I
little
appreciate
resource,
that.
that's
Yeah,
for
and
sure.
it'll continue to grow and adjust as we go. But I'm really happy with the beginning results and where we're going. So thank you,
Yeah, of course.
Hey, Tim, how did the
Ryan. That's a good looking
Vegas?
hat you're wearing, sir.
I did
Where'd
not
you
get
get
to go.
that?
Oh yeah, yeah. How did the Vegas show go? I know you went to the Las Vegas Tow Show.
Yeah, I mean, I came back with a crippling hangover, as you would imagine. So there was that, and I lost my voice on about halfway through day one, and the Vegas show and the Florida show were so close together this year, right? They were like what 10 days apart or something. I mean, they were so close.
Yeah.
And I got a cold when I was at the Florida show, so I got this little bitty head cold that lasted for a day or two, and felt like I was over it. Got out to Vegas, was sitting there working, was a day in, and when I say I lost my voice, I mean lost. I mean, I'm trying to talk and nothing's coming out. My wife has prayed for that day. And it's just never happened when she's around.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was I was voiceless for a good day and tried to medicate myself to where I could at least go and finish out the show. But no, the shows were good, man. They're always fun. And if you've never been to one, If I know that, you shoot, probably 10% of the market actually goes to these shows, right? The rest of people, they're too busy. They're working. It's hard to leave their business. I get it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
When you got a towing business, you're married to it, right? I mean, it's
yep.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You're there. And so I understand guys that have a hard time getting to it, but it is a great time of networking, good time to see new products. It's a good time to meet other people in the industry. And the thing I love about our industry, and it's the reason why I've stayed in it for so long, uh, I love the people. I love blue collar, hardworking, real people, right? And the tow industry is just full of those kind of guys, right? Now they may be real assholes, but they're real, right? You can
Oh
depend
yeah.
on who they are on the outside, and I dig that. I can get along with that. I don't do fake really well, so it's a fun market, and I always enjoy the time to get to meet people, or meet new people and catch up with old friends and vendors that we make sure we take the time to hurt our head at least one night at every show.
I didn't really partake in any of that, well, at all. I had a
Yeah, yeah.
few here and there just sociably. I just didn't have the time because I had to drive back from Florida, and I really wanted to go to the Vegas show, but it was too much. I couldn't do that much at in that short a time. I'm not that happy that I missed it. But I heard it was pretty good. And maybe next year. I mean, just like I've said in past years, and back to what you said about, owners running the company, operators being tied up with the business and the hours they can't get cut loose. I was there, and it's only been the last few years that I was able to even get to start going to these shows. Um, because I was just so busy and I was tired and I just couldn't. It's just too much. It gets to be too much juggling it all. But back to what was Tim saying too. Another point was you got to make it out there. You got to go to these shows. They are very cool. Like a lot of the vendors set up a lot of cool, trucks and stuff like that. We try to get some of that stuff in, and but there's just so much to see at one given day if you only got a day. Now, if you have the two, you get to see more, you get to talk more, you get to, network more. But what I will say is you don't miss it. If you do have the chance, try to get to one of the shows that are closest to you.
Yeah, and there's one coming up in Texas. As a matter of fact, uh, I invite you guys, if you want to, you can set up and do your show from the booth in Texas. We'll see if we can get it set up to where you guys can come down and do that. I'll invite you to come down and hang out with
Uh,
me down there.
I think I talked to Ryan about this. I would love to go to Texas. The Midwest is one place I would like to get to. It's a different world in a good way. The weather's better sometimes than over on the East Coast, but the Midwest, West, somewhere over there, I would love to get to. Like I said, it's just, I don't know if I could give up that amount of time. My automotive repair business is it's demanding at times. And my position there is I don't have a lot of people in place to take my place. So I'm like a floater in a sense. I work on the cars. I get quotes together. I talk to people, order parts. I mean, I do everything. So it's kind of tough, but I would love to get down to the Texas show and hit that side of the country.
San Antonio is really nice. July is a little questionable timing for being in San Antonio, Texas. So you can go out to one of the cars, and if you want to fry egg on somebody's hood, that'd probably be very doable while you're there. Probably make some fajitas on
Never
somebody's
being hot.
on top of somebody's truck. So it is, yeah, it's going to be hot. But yeah, but yeah, if you guys can, love to have you. If you can't make it, we can always call you in, remote you in. But would love to have you guys down there at the show. It'd be pretty cool. And we're also doing, I think we're going to do the
Hey,
Midwest, where we will be at the Midwest Toast Show in Ohio. And I think we're also looking at the Mid Atlantic show, which is in North Carolina. So if any of those and you want to come, we'd love to have you as our guest for sure.
That's cool.
hey, Tim. I'm looking at the Tow Trucks app right now. There's a cool place in the app where you can actually look to see all the trade shows that are coming up for the year under industry. Just select trade shows. There it is. You said San Antonio, Texas, but correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks like oh shoot, there's the Tow Expo in Texas. There's another one in June. Do you plan on going to the Wisconsin Tow Show, June 19th and June 21st? Is that something you're doing, or you out on that one?
I would love to go up there and go see. I don't have a booth set up there yet. Wisconsin show I've never done before. So that would be a nice one to go up and
Ah,
look.
okay.
Uh, I was talking to one of the leaders, the former president of the Alabama Association, yesterday, and so we were having a conversation, and he was telling me about an incident that they'd had, and between Alabama and Georgia, and the incident actually took place in Georgia. Right. I don't know if geography wizards are out there, but I mean, we're right next door to Georgia, so it's not like the people are very similar. The political climate's very similar. All that stuff is similar. The laws are so different between Georgia and Alabama that it's crazy. And it does make it hard for a national association or for one national group to kind of talk about things that are going on inside your state, or how towing varies from state to state. Ryan, you're in two different states. Are the rules different between the two states that you play in? The laws different?
Yeah, well, a little bit, not as bad as what you're talking about, Arkansas versus Missouri. It's, some of the biggest laws, of course, are in lighting with the trucks, and the fact that Arkansas has a tow board, that the state puts on that manages towing laws, basically. And Missouri is kind of more on the state police that monitor towing. And so, they don't get involved as much as to licensing across the state. So there's a lot of cowboys more in Missouri. Of course, I said for a second the lighting is different. In Missouri you can run red and blues on a tow truck, which some people love and some people dislike. And those laws are drastically different. Arkansas, you couldn't do that if you crossed the state line. Welcome to spend the night in the county jail. Some of those the state troopers, especially in Arkansas. If you've watched any of their TikTok videos, they are very popular for their aura on the streets. So yes, the laws are very much different
Yeah,
from state to state. Not so bad like that, but
yeah,
definitely see what you're talking about.
yeah, and I find that from the association. So going to the Wisconsin show, or going to a California show, or going to a different show, you know, it's funny. A lot of the local guys, a lot of the local towers, they learn so much about legislative issues, about things that they need to do by going to those events and going to those shows, especially the local ones. And I have found over the course of time, just kind of going to see these different guys, and always been amazed at how different it is from Connecticut to New York, or from Florida to Alabama, or from wherever. Right? It's I don't know if you've ever been to the Floribama, but there's actually a bar on the Florida Alabama line called the Floribama. That's a world famous honky tonk.
I've
But
been there.
there is a line that
I've
goes
been
straight.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, that goes straight through the bar. Yeah, so and on one side's Florida, one side's Alabama, right? Well, as a tow truck towing company, your rules on the Florida side is different than on the Bama side, and it's right there. And
Yeah,
so,
that's interesting.
knowing, being a part of your state association, knowing your state association, attending the events and the things that go on inside those associations, can really help your business and help keep you out of a pickle. The guy I was talking to yesterday, I mean, it cost him a lot of money. Made a mistake that he didn't know, and his driver made a mistake that he didn't know, and ended up costing him a pretty good bit of money. And so knowing the rules, and knowing kind of what the differences is from state to state, and making sure you're involved in the states and the associations that where you do business, right, is important, because you can
Yeah.
learn a lot and keep yourself out of trouble.
Well, I miss that as a tower. I miss the fact that, when I started towing to begin with, I'm grabbing a truck. I'm worried about how to make some money. I wasn't worried about what association my state had or what tow board my state was running in. I mean, I'm just figuring out going how to go to shop and, towing a car and trying to make the truck payment or whatnot. Julius, did you pay much attention to the legislation or anything along those lines when you first started?
So
And if you
Hi.
said no, then it's okay.
Like, I wasn't a road tower or anything like that. I was nothing like that. I was always scared of the law. Like the whole famous, if it fits, it ships type mentality,
Yeah.
which
Oh
I love
yeah.
to
I see
see,
that. I see that
what
a
these
lot on the
trucks can do
nation.
and all that.
Oh yeah.
But it's a famous quote. It's a famous quote. But
Yeah, yeah.
what I will say is I've always tried to stay in the parameters of the law. Like if I ever had a long haul from state to state, I would always stop at the way stations. Some people say that I didn't have to, but I still did. Yeah, there's so many laws you got to go by. The Fed is one law to go by, like the FMCSA and everything like that. And then you have the local and state. Uh, Everybody has something, but a lot of that derives from the FMCSA, and then they massage it the way that they want to. It's tough to keep up with all the laws, but we do have our phones, right? Our phones are mini computers where you can kind of check before you cross those lines. Just be careful about picking up in certain counties and stuff like that. I know here in Pennsylvania, the turnpike is a big one. There's a lot of stuff that kind of derives where they have their own rules, because it's like it is a private like road. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
policed by the state for Pennsylvania. But they have their own rules. You have to be associated with the turnpike. If you want to get on the turnpike, you have to there's just so much to
Well,
take into consideration. Just do as much due diligence before you go and do what you're going to do.
I think to
Well,
Tim's
and a
point,
shameless plug.
that
Go ahead, Ryan. I'm sorry.
go for it, Tim.
I was going to say a
Sorry, we got a
shameless
little bit
plug,
of delay, and
just in case, for sure. There is at that industry button at the bottom of your Tow Trucks app, there is a place for associations, not only the trade shows, but also the associations. So if you know you're going to be doing some work, for example, if there's a hurricane in Florida and you run down and buy a couple trucks to go down and do some work down in Florida, you can join the PWF or call the PWF and at least be in contact and see if you can get a list of the legislation and what you need to know in order to do work down there. So if you need to, and I would suggest it, as these guys have talked about, if you're going to be doing work in a specific state, it's not bad to be in contact with the state association and make sure that you understand kind of what the rules are.
yeah.
Your turn, Ryan.
Uh, Tim, sorry. Yeah, Tim, sorry for that, man. We have a. Me and Julius don't have a delay here, but we got a little bit of delay with you for some reason. So, yeah, I made an $8,000 mistake
Alabama.
in the first couple months of towing. In the first couple months of towing in Arkansas. And I'll tell you what, if I did have an app like that at the time, it would have been much easier to identify that I had a tow board or that had an association that I could ask the questions to in Arkansas and not had made a $8,000 mistake. Because there's certain rules for when you pick up cars, what you have to do when people come back and combat you. If you don't have all this paperwork in line, you stand to lose and stand to have to give, an item or pay back reparations, whatever, to the person who could come out the victor, the previous owner or whatever. And it cost me quite a bit of money and to learn. Right, I had to learn. I would have loved to have had something in my hands that would have prevented that at the time. So I got to learn it the hard way. Just to your point.
Go ahead, Julius. You're going to say something.
No, it's just yeah, the hard way sometimes. I wouldn't say the only way, but that's the only way you learn
Yeah.
sometimes. Not all the time. Me, I I hated learning the hard way because the hard way cost me money, and I had a lot of bills were always there. So any more at that point would have sucked so bad that I would either had to close my doors or something. Because I seen some of those bills. I mean, I don't know that they had that much paper in some of these police cars because they just keep rolling and rolling and rolling. Literally, guys are holding them end to end, and it just looks
Yeah.
nonstop. I'm like, what did you guys do? And it's insane.
No, it's
Yeah,
for sure.
it's pretty crazy, man.
Now, what did you talk
All right,
about
hey Tim,
on the insurance? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
the insurance, we were talking about rising costs in the industry. People are out running around right now trying to find anything they can to save any money, especially in the last year or two. We were discussing since 2020, the towing industry's insurance has raised 40%. But sadly, depending on how many trucks you have, you could be talking about tens of thousands of dollars a year in increases. And the price for a tow has not increased like that. In fact, in the last 5 years, it's maybe over the whole entire country, it's maybe moved 8%, maybe in some cases 10%. But that's hard as a tow owner because you're looking at your competitor down the street who's maybe not moving his prices at all, and then you start losing work.
Yep. I get it for sure. It seems like ever since I've been in the industry, about every 3 or 4 years, insurance companies would just come out and just pound, right? For a couple of years where everything would just blow up. And, it was crazy. From looking at it from the insurance perspective, I used to, for a lot of you guys out there, you probably remember me from doing telematics and camera systems and stuff like that. And so I did it a long time. I've dealt with a lot of risk managers inside that insurance industry. And you kind of learn their problem is when they're trying to sell it through is that, towers are a claim magnet, right? Whether it be a bumper claim or whether it be a workers' comp claim or whether it be a damage claim, or whether it be something else that happens. And it's not the guys like yourself, Ryan, or the guys that do it the right way, that go through, Julius, and the guys that bought the good trucks, that tried to follow the rules, that did stuff the right way, that end up causing the problems. Right? It's the other guys that come through that end up ramping up the prices and killing everybody. But yeah, it seems like they're starting to, from what I can tell, that there's a lot of these groups that are starting to go nationwide that really want to do business in towing, that understand the industry, that really want to invest their time and energy inside the industry. And so I can think of two or three different ones that are really like that are starting to do that. And then we also, I think last time I heard, there was about three or four different collectives that were out there that were starting to do business. Have you looked at the collective stuff? I know you got um, a, a bigger company, Ryan. Are you guys starting to look at the into the collective insurance captive type work?
Yeah, we've looked into that a whole lot for ours because you're right. Obviously, the bigger your company is, the more something like that becomes a reality. Obviously, if you're a 1 to 10 truck operation, that's going to be much harder to do. But
Yeah, oh, yeah.
so far, every collective policy or captive policy that we went to as a group and tried to discuss rates and figure out what our exposure would be financially, we've not pulled the trigger in those. I think there are some really good ones out there, but we were actually still coming up a little bit cheaper staying in the market and just traditional insurance companies rather than actually going with a captive policy. That's our experience. Other guys will say something different.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think there's some vendors out there, some of the brokers and some of the guys that have been around our industry for a while that are finding some creative ways to try to help because I think they feel everybody's pain enough to where they're starting to work with it. So, but yeah, it seems like every 3 years there's it's 50% raise in rates. You're like, good lord, you're not getting a 50% raise in your rates every 3 years. So it'd be a lot cooler if you were, not for the end user, but but for the tower for sure, right?
Yeah, no
Yeah.
kidding.
Um, that's one thing about your agent or broker or whoever you have, um, that you realize who they are and what they mean to you. Because if they're out there looking at your policy and trying to save you money and keep you in business, because ultimately some of these companies uh, in the industry dry up from insurance, the rates just become astronomical for them to operate. I mean, there's a lot that plays into that. You know, your state could potentially be the problem where, it's a problem some state. I know some companies when in the tow truck industry, when it comes to insurance, they just pull out because just like anything else, they can't afford to stay. But there's some things that they could do to combat it, but they don't even try. And I'm not talking about the brokers or the agents. I'm talking about the insurance companies themselves. But if you do have that type of agent, when you call and they're looking out for your best interests, literally you have a godsend in a sense of stay with them, work with them. They're trying, because a lot of the industry insurance brokers and agents aren't there for you like that.
Yeah, it's really tempting when when your expenses are tight, right, to just jump around to the guy that can save you another $100 a truck. But there's some value in some of these guys that have been around the industry that kind of understand what you can do to improve. And one of the best pieces of advice that I've ever heard in that sense was not related to was trying to tell them, hey, rather than saving $100 in premium this year, why don't we change the behavior of what's causing your premiums to be high and fix it forever? Right, save you $500 a year, or $500 a month forever, rather than $100 here or there. So sometimes just finding a lower rate doesn't fix the reason why your rates are higher, right? So taking the time to learn how to, either educate your drivers or some of the things that you may be able to do better, whether that's paying some of it out of pocket that are some of your smaller ones, or keeping some of that, keeping finding ways to keep your premiums down. So those guys are smart, right? They've been around our industry for a while. That most of these guys that you see again at the trade shows, those guys have been around. So, and I know several of them that are really working to expand their net on how far they go so they can work in different states. And then also, so they can help you find ways to fit your business. So if it's a larger business, find a way to get you into a captive or something that makes sense for you. If you're a smaller business, ways that that you can take what you've got and reduce your liability, so that way you don't have the same amount of premiums that you're going to have to pay year over year.
Hey Tim, I really appreciate the information, man. With everything on the insurance side, obviously, I was looking at the app, and there's several choices there on insurance. And I'm also noticing when you touch a truck, you can get a couple insurance options there. And I'd love to have you back at a different date, and we could really dive into that kind of stuff, man. And I also want to say I really appreciate you taking the time to be on with us and talk to us about the app and its capabilities. I think that we'll put a link in our description for the hyperlink for the app, and of course, you guys can hit me and Julius up on TikTok, Facebook. Have any questions, whatever, and we'll see if we can redirect you over to Tim and the website and get you hooked up over there. Tim, I really appreciate you spending some time with us, man.
Yeah,
Well, no,
it's
I
truly,
really
Tim.
enjoyed it.
Thank you.
I definitely enjoyed it. Thank you, guys. We'll
Hey,
do it
man, have a
again.
good one. We'll see you at the next trade show, man. See you,
All
buddy.
right, buddy. Be good. All right, man.
See you, Tim.
See ya.
Julius, you got me. We're back.
We're back. That was
Yeah.
good, man. I'm glad
Tim
Tim
was
came
good. Tim was
on.
good. Yeah, that was good. It's informed a lot of stuff over there for everyone to check out. It was good talking to him. Hopefully, we'll run into him at a later trade show. That would be cool.
Yeah, yeah. I do like not to keep beating a dead horse, but I got to get to these shows. Just the time, man. Just like everybody
Oh
else,
yeah.
like we got to get
Oh
there.
yeah. It's tough. I think there's a show for the next 3 months. They're going to be smaller ones, and then you hit Texas, which will be there. That one's one I'd like to for us to shoot to. Maybe we can work that out. Who knows? We'll see. Right? We'll see.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. I might have to put a day in with my boss to see if
You can
if
make
he
it.
would let me.
You can make it. That's what I'm saying, dude. You gotta put that request in. See if you can get that bitch stamped.
Uh,
So
yeah, and then they're gonna revoke it when the day comes.
100%, dude.
You go, you're
100%.
fired.
Yeah, you're out of
You go,
here.
you're fired.
Yeah. Um, Man, it was awesome talking about some of the insurance stuff. There's a lot of options out there, but kind of like you said, man, when you have a agent or a broker that you really like dealing with, sometimes it's not always about the price. You're probably gonna, for me, I'm gonna go with somebody that I have a great relationship with. Chances are just because somebody else has their policies are a little bit cheaper doesn't mean I'm gonna go that way. If I don't get my person. Now, if you're dealing with the broker, it's their job to make sure that you've got the best rates out there. And if you've got a good broker, which I do, and I can't wait to talk about her and build her up a little bit and her company for the nation to hear because they do such great work. But that'll be at a different time, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I've had to leave brokers, insurance agents, not because of, it's kind of contradicting what I'm going to say, but sometimes the price was that good, but we had a good relationship. It wasn't just the price, we built a relationship and that relationship really came into something good. So you can't be afraid to leave sometimes, even if you have a good relationship. But if that
Sure, sure, of
relationship,
course.
if they're trying, like truly trying to get you the rates, that you deserve and need to survive, sometimes it is worth staying. The grass isn't always greener, but sometimes it is. It's so tough to talk for somebody else. I'm
Yeah.
just talking for myself. It's my agents over the years when it came to personal business, they all varied. Everybody has their own personality. Everybody has their own way of doing business. Everybody has their own mindset on how things should be done. But like I said, I mean, you just have to weigh that out at the time, that you come up for renewals. Products change constantly because insurances are they're always trying to combat things on their end, and sometimes it works out on your end. So don't be afraid, and some of these companies are so large, they don't have that many options. The smaller guys don't have as many options either. Because they're just starting out, they don't, there's just so many variables that we could touch on, and we might do that at a later date. But it's a
Yeah.
it's a subject that we need to talk about.
Well, with the rising costs and everything, and I know we just spent an hour talking about that, especially with trying to find, new avenues and ways to save money in the tow industry. The operator who's in the truck is typically not thinking about those things. And that's why I wanted to talk
No.
a little bit to all the operators is that, given this time that's out there right now, if you feel like you got to get a raise or you feel like you did this, you might just give the market a minute to simmer before you push on those kind of topics because everybody's struggling right now. The tow companies, the owners are scratching their heads trying to figure out how to pay fuel, how to pay insurance, and battling also employees left and right or the people that work with them to get more is super demanding. So just trying to put that out there so everybody can think about it that works in the industry is that now is a little bit of a rough time, you know?
Yeah, and to capital to build off of what you're saying, sometimes the operators and the employees don't understand that. Let's just say you're making 20 bucks an hour, the back end for an owner to pay that 20, and every state is different too. When you get your
Yeah.
check, the owner has to pay a lot on the back end. Like if we give raises to the employees, once the insurance sees that on renewal, our workman's comp is going to go up. We have to pay, well, at least in Pennsylvania, I have to pay, a tax to pay you. So that goes up. There's so many other increases when that raise comes that, employees don't see. And, as owners, we don't want you to see that because that's not your responsibility. And some employees don't care that, that's a thing because that's all they, at the end of the day, they just care about their paycheck. And that's okay too. You go to work to get paid, but we're
Of
all
course.
on the back end, we're trying to figure all that out, for what's best for you and
Ti
what's best for the company to
Yeah.
stay afloat and keep going.
Yeah, and I'm bringing it up so much because the typical tow company across the United States is 1 to 5 trucks, and which what I mean by that
Mhm.
is that it's more of a family, smaller unit. Typically it's a family that has just a couple guys come in and they work and so if they hear this and they hear us talking about the time is tough, just so they're aware of it because not a lot of people are good at discussing what the industry looks like right this second. And a tow owner or somebody that might be super frustrated in the background And, this could give you some insight to why that is instead of just thinking they're a butthole or whatever. And man, I don't want to deal with this guy right now. It could be because of the stress of what the current events are, and the regular operator might not be paying attention to that is totally my point about that. And Julius, I appreciate running so long here. We're probably right at the end of episode two,
Yep.
which was
Yep.
fun.
Two.
It was good to talk to Tim. We got to close this out. We do want to hear back from everybody. Hit us up on TikTok, Facebook, message us. We are pretty good. Julius is probably a little better about returning stuff than I am, but I have gotten a lot of messages about the podcast on TikTok, which has been awesome. So please hit us up there. The host right now, Spotify. We're working really hard to get it out to all the other ones. We will accomplish this ASAP.
Yep, we're working on it. It is a lot on our back end. It's just a lot of technical stuff. And we're working on it for sure. We're trying to get it to everybody so they're comfortable viewing it where they like to view it. I mean, everybody has their thing. So, not to keep dragging this out, but I had a good time. Thanks again
Yeah.
for everybody visiting and spending the time with us. And
Yep.
we're gonna be working on number 3 here.
Yeah, we got some great topics coming up, and we also got some really cool guests that I can't wait to get in front of us. So, everybody, be safe on the roadside. We'll see you in episode 3. Thanks.